Hello, I'm Dr. Sam, this is Dr. Sam's Health, and today I've got a very special topic to discuss. If you follow my YouTube channel, you must have noticed that I started my epic journey with a trip to Long Island, New York, where I took a course, which was NSCA CSCS Clinic. NSCA stands for National Strength and Conditioning Association, and CSCS stands for Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, and I would like to talk about this clinic today. But just before I begin, I would like to provide you with a proper background. As you know, I'm not a professional strength and conditioning coach. I'm just a physician who is interested in nutrition and sports science, and since I'm covering these topics on my YouTube channel, I've been reading a lot. One of my major reads in the past several months was this textbook. It's published by NSCA, and I'm very happy with this. It's an absolutely fantastic textbook. It has all the information you need to plan your nutrition, your exercise routine, your training. It has 24 chapters and it's full of knowledge. I would highly recommend that you read it if you want to design your own training program to monitor your nutrition. It is absolutely amazing. And since I have invested a lot of time and effort into reading this book, into increasing my general level of knowledge in sports science and nutrition, and I also had all the necessary qualifications, I realized that I'd be better off taking the CSCS exam, and being a total nerd, I didn't want to leave any stone unturned, so I decided to take the CSCS Clinic. Before we begin, I would like to make an important point. There will be some criticisms, but just because I'm trying to be objective and I'm trying to cover both positive and negative aspects of this clinic. Also, being a physician, it was a very interesting experience for me because day one of the clinic was dedicated almost exclusively to some academic aspects of the exam preparation, such as nutrition, sports science, physiology, and I definitely know these subjects much better than an average person who is going to take this exam. So day one was quite basic for me, whereas the second day of the course was the major point of interest to me. It was dedicated to practical aspects of the exam, and since I'm not a professional strength and conditioning coach, I was really looking forward to hearing more about the practical aspects of exercise, exercise errors, proper technique, and so on. So now when I have made my disclaimers, we can actually do the review of the clinic. I will start with the administrative aspects of it, such as pricing, location, and timing. So let's start with the price. The clinic was priced very reasonably. I've spent $350, I think, on this, and I think it's a very decent price for a 2-day long course, so I have no issues with that. In terms of location, I have some issues, but mostly because I'm Canadian. NSCA runs these clinics all over the United States. I picked one that was located in New Hempstead, New York, primarily because I didn't have to fly there, so I could just drive to New York area and back, and it was not associated with some major costs or travel arrangements. Nevertheless, I had some travel accommodations to make. I had to pay for gas and I had to pay for the hotel, so overall the price of this clinic was close to $1,000. If you live in the United States, likely you'll pick something that is very close to you, so you won't incur the same costs as I did. Finally, the timing, which was very good. The clinic was held over the course of the weekend. It's a 2-day course, and if you have a full-time job, you actually don't have to disrupt anything. You just attend the clinic over the course of one weekend, and you're good to go. I would like to say several words about the facility. The facility was very nice. The course was held at the Hofstra University. They have this Hofstra Dome, which is their physical education facility. They had a very nice classroom where they had all their didactic materials, all their presentations, and also they had a small gym where they could show us all the practical aspects they wanted to. I think it would be only fair to say several words about my classmates. The audience in general was very nice. I honestly thought I would be the oldest and the least fit individual there, but it turned out that there were people of all walks of life, physical education teachers. Some of them were much older than I am, and some of them were less fit. They also had a group of, college students, kinesiology students who happened to be the students of the instructors who were teaching the course, and they had some very friendly and nice banter from time to time, and I honestly felt like I'm back to my college years. So I really enjoyed the company of my classmates. They were very, very nice. I have this tendency of asking lots of questions and sometimes even correcting the instructors. I did my best to suppress this instinct of mine, but still I definitely came across as a very knowledgeable guy, at least on day one. Actually, one of my classmates told me on day two that he spoke to his wife and told her that there is some sort of a professor in our room who knows everything. That was obviously a great compliment to me, and it was very flattering. I happen to be a professor, and I happen to know a lot about basic science, nutrition, endocrinology, physiology, and I'm very happy to hear that it shows. Speaking of me asking questions and sometimes arguing with instructors, I would like to say several words about the instructors. There were two instructors, both of them were PhDs in sports science. They were in general very nice and seemed to be very good coaches. But at the same time, I would like to say that for PhD scientists who are teaching such a serious clinic that is meant to prepare people for their CSCS exam, I think they were a little bit subpar. And these are my criticisms that I were warning you about, and I was asking you not to take as a personal attack. In my understanding, if you're teaching a course like that, if you are a PhD level instructor and you're preparing people to take their CSCS exam, which is a very serious exam, you have to be very precise and you have to know everything you're talking about in depth, in a lot of detail, and to know your stuff really, really well. Unfortunately, during the course, there were quite a few errors. For example, one of the instructors said that protein yields 5 kilocalories per gram, which is incorrect. It's 4 kilocalories per gram, and it is a very important fact because some of the questions on the real exam, they will ask you to calculate some caloric intake, and you will have to convert grams of protein into calories. So if you believe that 1 gram of protein yields 5 kilocalories, you will definitely get your equations wrong, and likely you will answer the question wrong. Another example, the same instructor actually said that during aerobic glycolysis, 1 molecule of glucose yields 32 to 36 molecules of ATP, which is again incorrect. It's 36 to 38. And in my opinion, it's a pretty grave error because it's a high school knowledge, and as a PhD level instructor, you have to know this stuff. Ironically, when she was making her presentation, the correct information popped up just behind her back. And when she noticed it, she said that, you guys should memorize it. It's very important for your exam. I didn't know why she did not memorize that, but again, it's a minor point, but since there were quite a few of them, I just feel obliged to actually mention it. Again, I don't mean to be very critical, and I don't want it to be perceived as some sort of a personal attack. I actually really enjoyed their presentations, but if you're paying for a course, if this course is meant to prepare you for a very serious exam, if you're a PhD level instructor, errors like that, in my opinion, are just unacceptable. Now I would like to talk about the syllabus in general. It was very decent, but at the same time, somewhat basic. So it was a very nice overview of everything you have to know, but at the same time, I would say that if you memorize everything that was presented during the clinic, likely you will fail your exam. It was definitely not enough. To be honest, I was a little bit disappointed because in the very beginning they said that, we cannot cover everything you have to know for your exam, but we'll focus on the most important things. Instead, they actually covered a lot of very basic items that I would expect everyone in the classroom already know about. And there were quite a few very complex topics that they just went through very quickly and, in my opinion, not in enough detail. Obviously, there were some multiple choice questions presented and we discussed them, but again, since the course is meant to prepare you for the CSCS exam, I would expect to have much more questions. I think in total we had around 100 questions, and I would expect much more during the course of this clinic. If I may, I would like to make a couple of suggestions in terms of organization of future clinics. What I would recommend doing is, instead of going over the basic material and have some questions, I would rather focus on very complex, very complicated topics, and I would have much more questions. We're talking about nutrition for 10-15 minutes, then we have like 5-6 questions on nutrition relevant to the material that was presented, so that we can memorize things better. Okay, now I would like to say several words about their PowerPoint presentations and the handouts. The presentations themselves were pretty good. but unfortunately it did not translate well into handouts because they were quite difficult to read. They were kind of blurry there. And quite honestly, I have the handouts, but I'm not going to use them because of that. Also, I would love to have an electronic version of these presentations because we live in 21st century and everything is going electronic these days. Finally, they had some technical issues with playing videos, and you would expect high quality and multiple videos on different exercise techniques. They had quite a few of them, but pretty much every time they struggled with making them run. And I hope that that is something that can definitely be taken care of in the future clinics. Finally, the practical part, my major point of interest. I was a little bit disappointed there too because it was quite well organized, but it was a very short part of day two. They only spent maybe an hour and a half in the gym, whereas for someone like myself who takes this exam seriously and would like to learn more about exercise technique, exercise errors, that was definitely not enough. So overall, despite of all these minor shortcomings, I think that the clinic was a great success. I really enjoyed my experience. I liked the presentations. I loved the interactions with my classmates. I think they gave a very good overview of the material and the exam structure and format. So I think it's a very good thing to take in order to prepare well for the exam. If you're planning to attend a clinic like that, I would recommend doing it either in the very beginning of your preparation, because the clinic will give you a very nice overview of everything, or just 3-4 weeks before taking the actual exam, because at that point I hope you would have read everything you have to read, and this clinic will give you a nice overview. It will help you to crystallize the most important concepts and things there, and it will actually point out the deficiencies that you have, so that you would have 2, 3, 4 weeks before your exam to address these deficiencies. So that was pretty much everything I wanted to say about the clinic. Again, I really enjoyed this experience, and I don't want anyone to take any of my criticisms as some sort of a personal attack. I'm just trying to be objective. Also, I assume that some of you while watching this video will say, it's easier to criticize others, why don't you try it yourself? So my answer to that would be, first of all, I'm not trying to be critical, and I'm not criticizing for the sake of criticizing. I really want this clinic and the future clinics to get better. And also, having a YouTube channel is my way of sharing information that I have with you. So I will actually make a commitment to go over this textbook, and I'm actually doing it right now because I'm preparing for my CSCS exam. I'm going to take it in several weeks. And after my exam, I will make a series of videos, which I will call Sports Science, and I will go over the most complicated subjects, topics from this book, and I will try to cover as much material as possible. That will be my way of sharing my knowledge with you, and I hope you will appreciate it. In order not to miss anything, please subscribe to my channel. If you like my videos, hit the like button, leave comments, ask questions. I'm always happy to interact with you. Also check out my website, drsamshealth.com. We've got plenty of materials there for you to discover. And that's it for today. I wish you all the best.